Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? Welcome to another Purposeful Conversations with Emee here in the Pame Code Facebook group. And today we have another inspiring guest. You wouldn't believe the kind of story that she's been through and what she's going to share with us. But today we're actually going to talk about health and well-being, particularly revolving around nutrition and the food that we put inside our bodies. Our guest today is the CEO and founder of Sophie's Kitchen. So let's all welcome Sophie Wedlock. Hi, Sophie. Thanks
Hi
for joining
everyone.
us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, Sophie, just before we started recording, you shared with me a glimpse of your life story, and I was actually so amazed at your story, like how you got to where you are now. But just for the sake of our viewers today, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do and how did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, no, happy to. I am a nutritional therapist and I help people naturally lose weight. I help people that've got cancer and thyroid issues and hormonal issues. I became a nutritional therapist because I've had a lot of struggles with my own health. In my early 20s, I beat cancer, but sadly, the treatment they gave me to beat cancer made my blood sticky. And then in my 30s, I had a huge stroke, which left me wheelchair bound for 5 months. I was also in a coma for a week. And when I came round, I was told the damage on my brain was so bad that it would be a miracle if I ever walked again. Obviously, being the determined, stubborn young lady I am, I was like, that ain't gonna happen. I will walk again. And at the time that I had the stroke, I was heading up an office in Kensington. I was working as an estate agent. I had a great job, a great salary, a flat in London, all gone overnight. So I thought, what can I do that I'm really passionate about? I've been given another chance at life, but I want to help others and I want to do what lights me up. And without being selfish, I want to have the best recovery possible. So I decided to retrain and do a degree in nutritional therapy. So I went back and studied for 3 years at the College of Naturopathic Medicine in London, and I absolutely loved my course. And I set up a blog called Sophie's Kitchen, but now I have my own business website, SW Nutrition, where I put all my recipes on there. And I have a Facebook group as well that's called the Holistic Natural Weight Loss Group, where I've got thousands of women belonging in the group and helping them naturally lose weight. Because I get so annoyed with all these weight loss plans that promise you weight loss, which is great, but people put weight back on afterwards.
It's like yo-yoing, isn't it?
It is. And I really think it needs to be a way of life. People should be educated in schools on what to do and how to kind of eat well and eat to kind of improve their immune system. Today, I've just started kefir for the first time and I'm growing my own.
Wow.
So I'm going to kind of keep growing it. It's quite bitter in taste, but I've got some supplements and powders to put in it to make it a bit more palatable. So I'm very passionate about health and everything to do with health. Not only what you eat, but what you put on your skin, meditation. I'm very different to a dietitian.
It's more holistic, your approach, isn't it? And the truth is, I've been going through your page and it looks all so clean and it's so healthy, and the energy that you give off, it's full of positivity. And now it absolutely makes sense, after hearing about your story. You're such a resilient person and someone who actually wants to make a difference, purpose driven. And that's also one of the reasons why I invited you, because there's something about you that resonated well, with what we are trying to achieve in this group, living with purpose,
Yeah,
action, momentum, and energy. And you're basically embodying that. It's
yeah.
it's
Thank you.
purpose driven. And what what I love is that you've gone through so much difficulties health wise, and you turned it around, and you're now helping other people to become
Absolutely.
healthy, and to be mindful of what they do with their bodies. So in terms of specialist areas, I know that you teach a lot about diet and good nutrition. If
Yeah.
someone is looking into improving their diet, what would be the first initial steps you would recommend in terms of adopting a healthier diet?
Okay, well, firstly, I would need to see a food diary and actually see what they're eating and drinking on a daily basis. And then when I see a client in clinic, I go through all their diet, I go through their family medical history, their own medical history. I look and see how they were born, what supplements they take themselves, any medication they're on. And then I go through the 7 systems of the body in great detail. And this takes about 90 minutes.
Wow. So it's
And
a
then
really tailored approach, isn't it?
it's almost like getting to the root cause of the problem. It's quite an intense kind of time together, but you really need to kind of investigate and see what's going on. I look at their hair, their skin, their tongue, their nails,
Mm.
to kind of get a good picture of what's happening inside of them. Because I get a lot of women saying, oh, I want to kind of look younger and thinner, but my skin is so dry. And then the first question I would ask is, how much water are you drinking?
Mm.
And do you know what? Quite often, the average amount of water that the average English person drinks is 1 to 2 glasses a day.
How is that possible?
I know.
the, okay, so that actually surprised me, because last year, inside the group, we had the healthy habits challenge, and the
Okay.
challenge that I gave to myself was I need to drink 8 glasses of water a day.
Yeah,
And I'm still doing it.
I
But
do as
I
well.
would
I always
I
have a
would
glass.
have the first glass when I wake up, and
Yeah.
every meal, and then in between meals. So I don't understand how just 2 glasses of water a day is even possible. I thought the Brits were crazy about tea. Doesn't that count?
Um, it is a fluid, so it can count, but unfortunately, it's different to drinking water.
Mm,
And we do need to drink lots of just water, not water with fruit in it or flavored, because
just
chances are
water.
that's got aspartame and sweeteners to make it taste good. Another thing I would look at with a client is how much processed food are they having. That's a really key thing, because I often say to clients, eat food as close to nature as possible. So an apple would be an apple in nature, and it will be an apple on your plate. So if you think of eating things as natural as possible, so your vegetables, we're all told to have 5 a day by the government, but
Mm,
actually we should be having 10 a day. And
wow.
that should be mostly vegetables, because fruit is brilliant and it's got lots of vitamins and minerals, but it does have sugar.
Mm.
So sugar's not so great for us. So if you aim for fruit, try and aim for apples, pears, and berries. Try and keep away from the mangoes, the pineapples,
All the
and the
sugary.
bananas. But they are prebiotic foods. So I'm not saying don't eat them, but just don't have them every single day.
Right. And when you talk about having vegetables, because I know that even for those who are vegetarian or vegan, they do struggle with getting, well, you said 10
I know.
portions of fruit and veg a day. How do you incorporate that into your diet,
Sure.
and
Well,
keep it natural without having such a struggle? Because I think for some people it's also the preparations.
sure.
They
Well,
haven't got the
one good thing
time.
to do is a smoothie, and you can pack kale and berries and things into your smoothie. And I use a lot of fermented powders, which are great because quite often they're 2 servings of vegetable a day, and they're prebiotic. And I have a lot of wheatgrass and spirulina because it's really detoxifying. It's brilliant for your skin and your hair and nails, and it actually gives you energy. Another thing I look at are people's, bowel movements and what
Yes.
happens, because that is key. You'll be amazed at what people come out with. Quite often, everyone says, "Oh, I'm normal," but what is normal? Well, with Ayurvedic medicine, normal is 3 movements a day, which
Really?
hardly anyone has. I mean, as long as you're going at least once a day, then, that's good. But if you're not going once a day, chances are you'll get headaches, you've got foggy head, you'll feel tired. So there are so many things you can do to make that happen. And the key thing is drinking water.
Yes, and
That really
it's
helps. I don't
interesting
know.
that you mentioned that. I think I've seen a show on British TV probably 10 or 15 years ago where they were inspecting people's poo,
Oh,
just to see how well formed it is,
yeah,
because it's a reflection of how healthy you are. It
exactly.
reflects what you're putting into your body and how
I
your
have a
body is
chart.
processing it.
I
Um,
asked clients to describe theirs.
Oh my god, can I
Nobody,
have a look again? That's really interesting. So you have
yeah.
like
It's
little.
called the Bristol Stool Chart.
Oh my goodness.
And I have so many charts. I have a urine chart as well.
If you're dehydrated, yeah.
Exactly. And then I have completely different, but on how to have your plate. So I'd say to people, have
Ah.
half a plate of vegetables or salad, then protein the size of the palm of your hand 3 times a day. Then you've got your good carbohydrates. And remember, vegetables are complex carbohydrates and they have more fiber. So we want to be aiming to have as much fiber as possible each day. And the government says we should have 30 grams of fiber a day. And most people are getting between 10 to 15 grams a day. So by having more vegetables, that's going to help you. And doing this regularly and drinking more water. I always say to clients, try and drink at least 2 pints of water before you leave the house in the morning.
Hmm.
And if you can put some fresh lemon in there, maybe some fresh ginger, fantastic.
That does that count in terms of your fiber intake, or is it just to add flavor to your water? What does it do with the lemon and the
The
ginger?
reason I say the lemon, because it's acid on the outside of the body, but when you ingest it, it's super alkaline. So it's really alkaline and detoxing. When I have my water, I have warm to hot lemon water.
Mm.
So it really detoxes me. And I do notice if I go away for a weekend and the hotel, normally most hotels can give you hot water and lemon, but on occasions I haven't had it. I really notice the difference in my skin. So I highly recommend that. And it also helps speed up the metabolism naturally.
Sure. Oh, so that's how it helps with the weight
Yeah,
naturally, because you're using lemon and ginger to help with
exactly.
the metabolism.
Exactly. And ginger, it speeds up the metabolism. And so do things like chili and mustard. They are brilliant. But another thing I say for lemon water, because if you have lemon is vitamin C. So if you have a protein and you have a vitamin C, it increases the iron absorption in the body, which is so important when you have a weak immune system, particularly people going through cancer.
Mm.
So I always say if they're going to have chemo the next day, have an iron rich meal. So have kind of whatever they have, whether they're vegan or they're not vegan, but to have their protein, lentils, tofu, or mince or fish with a glass of orange juice, freshly squeezed
To
orange
help
juice.
with the
Now,
absorption.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And I actually love the plate that you showed earlier, because in the 80s and 90s, we were taught about the food pyramid, and it's
Yeah.
basically carbohydrates like, bread and rice and all the starchy stuff. And now it's, there's a lot of talk around, I don't think that's recommended anymore,
No,
that food
no.
pyramid, but
It's actually changed now. I belong to an association called BANT, and they've redone the food pyramid, and there's a lot more vegetables. I mean, to be honest, I work with a lot of vegetarians, and not many of them eat vegetables.
mm,
Most of the vegans that come to my clinic come and they eat a lot of chips. Chips may be vegan, but
it's
they're
not
not recommended.
necessarily nutritious. It's not
No,
necessarily good for you because it's so high in salt and fat,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
Right.
And it's very
So
starchy. A lot of people don't know alcohol is actually not vegan. The whole process with alcohol involves eggs and all sorts of things. So it's not actually vegan. You can get vegan wine. And I love a nice glass of red wine.
mm,
So I try to have organic and sulfate free, because it's better for you. If you're going to have naughty things, have the best quality you can have. I always have the highest cocoa content chocolate, or I make my own chocolate, which
you
is
make
lovely.
your own chocolate. How do you do
Yeah,
that?
I can send you a recipe. I have raw cacao butter, raw cacao, and raw cacao can be a little bit bitter. So I
Mm.
add some maple syrup and also some date syrup, just to give it a little oomph, and it is divine.
Right. Well, I find this really fascinating, Sophie, because I've met so many people who are going through yo-yo diets. Now we are in February, and a lot of people who started with their New Year's resolutions, to eat more healthily and to lose weight, go to the gym and so on. They've fallen off the wagon by
Yeah.
now.
And to be
So
honest, in a way, I mean, that's so sad, but I go to the gym regularly, and
mm.
now I can get on all the machines I want again, because it was difficult. I had to queue at the beginning of the year. So that's really
Now it is
difficult.
easier because, well,
Yeah.
it's February now. Usually it
Exactly.
takes about 21 days, and
Yeah.
people start falling off. But if they want to start again, surely you have to start with small steps, keep it
Yeah.
simple. What would be the initial first steps that you would recommend just to keep things simple?
Um, just one thing I would say is planning. There's nothing worse when you've had a long day in the office, and I understand, and you get home and you just want to eat and you want it quick. But if you've planned in advance, maybe you've batch cooked at the weekend and you have some salmon that's already cooked, some brown rice, or a packet of lentils, and a big salad you've made. You can whip up a meal in 5 minutes, and it's really healthy. There's no reason to fall off the bandwagon, and to have like some high cocoa content chocolate in your cupboard, just in case you fancy a naughty little snack. Things like that, just being prepared. And, one thing I would say, a lot of people, to help them with weight loss, it's balancing blood sugar. So I often say to people, if you're having a fruit like an apple, which is a great snack, remember it's a glucose. So glucose make your sugar level rise. Whatever rises has to come down.
Mm.
So the key way of making it come down gently instead of dropping is by adding a protein. So a protein could be 5 nuts. It could be a little natural nut butter, the one without sugar. So it's about balancing blood sugar levels throughout the day. And one of the key things, if one thing you can learn from this today, please don't have coffee for your first drink in the morning. Because if you haven't eaten, you've got an empty tummy, it's going to destabilize your blood glucose levels, and then you will crave sugar for the rest of the day. So balance the day with a glass of hot water with lemon and a really good nutritious breakfast. something with a good size protein, the size of your palm of your hand. So some scrambled eggs, you know, with some avocado and spinach. Bam, you've got 2 vegetables in there and a good protein. And then you've got the lemon from your water. Can you see how easy it is to kind of add natural vegetables without even thinking about it
Just
into your
little
diet?
bits here and there, having your veg, your protein, and
Yeah.
little bit of carbs.
Yeah. But when you have carbs, try and have good carbs. Like instead of having a white potato, think a sweet potato. There's more kind of vitamin C in it, more flavonoids, therefore more antioxidants.
Mm.
So just little tweaks like that. And then for a snack in the afternoon, having something that's protein and good carbs, carrots and hummus. And when you have hummus, try and buy the full fat hummus. Don't get half fat. Don't get half
Mm.
fat anything.
Right. Why is
So
that? Is it because they're adding
because
more sugar or they're adding something
they're
else
not
to add the
adding more
flavor?
sugar, they take ingredients away and then quite often add like aspartame, or they add ingredients to actually
Mm.
make it taste nicer. And as I said to you at the very beginning, always make everything as natural as possible. So if you can make your own hummus, because it's so easy to make and it's
Yeah.
delicious, but always keep it simple, always full fat everything. It will keep you more satisfied as
Mm.
well.
Right. Sophie, I'm actually a health psychologist and I've worked in community health promotion for quite some
Oh,
time.
wow.
And
Okay, now you tell
what
me.
well, no, because well, I'm not a specialist in diet and nutrition, but what I
Okay.
hear all the time from from community members who do struggle with eating healthily is first the time, they
Yeah,
just haven't got the time to prepare, and second is the money. It's
yeah.
surprisingly expensive for some people to eat healthily because you have to eat organic, you have to have variety, and it's so
Can I
easy for
just
them.
interject? I mean, if you can afford organic, great, but there's something called the dirty dozen. So things that are okay to buy that aren't organic, that have got a skin or shell. So avocado's fine, bananas fine, pineapple's fine. So things like
with the
berries and
thick with
strawberries.
the thick skin.
Yeah, but things like berries and strawberries, if you can afford organic, great. But if you can't, make sure you wash them thoroughly. And you can get sprays actually that wash off all the pesticides, and they're relatively cheap in a health food shop. So always wash everything really well.
Right. Yes. So that's one thing that I hear a lot. And yeah, the thing about time. So for people in terms of food preparations, for
Yeah,
example, they just want to prepare something that's quick and easy. Maybe two or three ingredients at a time, and off they go. But most of the time, they just haven't got the energy or the time
no,
to prepare something from
yeah.
scratch. So how can you help them overcome that if they're working 8 hours a day, stuck in traffic? When they get home,
Sure.
they're just
Um,
tired.
One thing I would say, if they start eating well, they'll have more energy. And then when you start eating well, you have the passion to kind of go that one step further. So just preparing in advance. And I know it's like not having time or energy, but anything you want in life, you've got to make time for it and be
Mm,
consistent. And
yes.
if you're not, it's not going to happen. So if you want to build muscles, you can't just say, oh, I pick up a weight and expect it to be there. You've got to go to the gym consistently. And it's being healthy. You've got to be consistent, plan in advance. You know, if you do your monthly budget for food shopping and you plan in advance, you can buy online, you can do all things to kind of coordinate the
To make
calculation.
it more organized, isn't it? And
Yeah,
And I like what you say about in terms of time. I hear this all the time, whether it is with my students who say I don't have the time to write a book, or for
Mm,
those people who would say I don't have the time to go to the gym, I don't have the time to prepare food from scratch. It's not that you don't have the time. You actually have
mm,
time, but you're choosing to spend your time on something else.
exactly.
So we have the same 24 hours in the day. If you can spend maybe half an hour, preparing and planning your meals, if you are
Exactly.
serious about it, you will find the time for it. And then you build it up and it becomes a habit,
Well,
rather
it's
than something that
yeah.
you just think out of the blue. It becomes a habit, it becomes part of the routine, isn't it?
And it's really interesting you say that because I've got a friend who's a professional chef for some very well established families, and he does like a food plan for the week and runs it past them before the beginning of the week. So, this is what the rich and famous are doing. We can do this ourselves. So, it's just taking a bit of time.
Yeah, it's just
Because we,
allocate the time, find the time. If you're saying
yeah,
that you haven't got the time, look at your diary, see where
mm,
you can squeeze in, see where you could actually take some time away. So if you're spending maybe 2 or 3 hours a day on social media,
that's right.
or maybe you're spending an hour in front of telly, binging on Netflix or what have you can
Mm,
actually take some time from there and use it to prepare
that's
your
right.
your meals and eat more healthily,
That's
to
right.
plan ahead.
Another
And
thing, you just made me think. I always say to clients, don't eat your food in front of a TV or looking at your phone because you need to rest and digest. And by doing that, you're not focusing your energy on digesting your food. Therefore, quite often, if you're watching in front of TV, and you're seeing these adverts and things for other food because they're strategically placed, particularly at night for chocolate. Um, it will actually bloat you because your body's not focusing on digesting. So I would actually say just eat at a table with your knife and fork. It's better for your posture as well.
mm,
So try and do that. And one thing, don't ever eat on the run. Don't eat while driving your car because you're not
that's
resting.
dangerous anyway.
I know it's illegal, but you quite often see people eating a sandwich. So just think things like that, really. Just a
Wow.
simple thing, but it's very helpful.
So it's really about planning, getting organized. I know for some people I can empathize, it's um finding the time, in your busy hectic schedule, if you're working full time and then you have a busy family life, maybe you're setting up a business as well, it can get incredibly busy, but
Mm,
eating healthily and finding the time to prepare meals that are good for you, and actually sitting down and chewing your food and
yeah,
enjoying your food, and
absolutely.
finding satisfaction in with the food that you eat, finding joy and
Right.
pleasure, and taking it really slow can actually do wonders for you and your
And
body.
another thing, when you said when you chew, it's the first area of digestion and it releases enzyme to help break down the food. Because remember, we don't have teeth in our gut. So we need to crush the food in our mouth. And I often say to clients, I know it'll be really frustrating, but try and chew a minimum of 20 times before swallowing. And then, because I always, when I go out for dinner with friends, I'm always the last to finish
Me
because I'm
too.
chewing,
Me
I'm
too.
chewing. And I probably talk quite a lot too, but
Mm.
I think it's such a fundamental, basic thing that we're all forgetting.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I'm always the last one to finish eating. It's
Yeah.
because I chew my food. I don't know if it is that I'm afraid to choke or something, but I do
Oh,
enjoy the food in my mouth, because once it's down, it's down. It's not in my mouth
exactly.
anymore. So I chew, I enjoy, I think about
Exactly.
it, and then I swallow. So yeah,
Mm.
so Sophie, thank you very much for
That's a
sharing your insights
pleasure.
with us. Really, it's yeah, it's this thing about preparation, and spending the time to think about what you are eating, and preparing
Yeah.
in advance, and incorporating. I like the food plate that you had,
Yeah.
having half with
Yeah.
vegetables, a little bit of
Okay.
protein, and you have your, is that the carbs, the little bit of carbs
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
there.
Carbs
and
there.
and the poo chart as well. that was just that
I'm
was
going to
just
do that
my
again.
highlight for the day. I'll go and check people's poo now. I have
Oh,
a son and a husband who actually are, I think their poo is quite healthy. I checked my son's poo, and it looks quite
okay.
healthy. But yeah, it's been a fascinating conversation, Sophie. So if
That's a
people would
pleasure.
like to reach out and learn more about you and what you do, where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me. My website is www.swnutritionuk.com, or you can find me on my group, which is Holistic Natural Weight Loss Group. And I'm on Instagram on Sophie's underscore kitchen underscore blog. And I'm always doing lots of weekly posts with lots of content which you can read and enjoy, and hopefully it'll help you with your health.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Sophie. And
Thank you.
keep it up. I mean, you're
I will
so
do.
purpose driven, and you're helping so many people. And in terms of the PAMI code, living with purpose, action, momentum, and energy,
Mm,
you're an embodiment of that. And
oh,
particularly in terms of, spreading positive energy, not just, we've talked about food and diet, but also your attitude towards life, and resilience, and just
yeah,
keep going and serving others, and having a purpose driven life. So thank you once
absolutely.
again, Sophie, and
Lovely.
thanks
Thank you.
everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch up again next time for another purposeful conversation with me, Emmy, here in the Pami Code Facebook group. Until then, take care and bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Bye bye.